The topic of this movement snack is releasing the arms. Many of us are unaware of how much tension we're actually carrying in the arms, and so hopefully this series helps you bring some awareness to that tension and also release some of it. You'll most likely find this useful if you spend a lot of time typing and clicking at a computer each day. If you're a tradesperson, people who spend a lot of time on the tools often end up with really locked up hands, wrists and forearms. And also people doing lots of physical practice where you're loading the upper body with weight. So I think we covered pretty much everyone with those categories. Hopefully you find it useful. The first thing we're going to do is just a very basic wrist circle that many of you have probably done or seen before, starting with the fingers interlaced. We're keeping the hands together and then circling them around each other. We're trying to explore the edges of the range of motion, so make it the largest movement that you can manage. But we're not looking for pain, like it should not be an intense movement, just a gentle lubricating washing of the joints. Other way, so the hands stay together and we circle around at the wrist. Try to keep the shoulders relaxed, the face and neck relaxed. If you're getting clicking in the joints, that's perfectly normal. It should diminish or even completely disappear with repetition, with time spent on this movement. Okay, very good. Next, we're going to do a little bit of ratcheting of the wrists. So we'll start with the index fingers aligned with each other, the others splayed. The hands are shoulder width apart here. Don't mistakenly overestimate the width of your shoulders. From here, we're taking the shoulders as far forward as you can manage. And so depending on your range of motion and the wrist, this might not be very far. Just adapt the movement to what's appropriate for you. So shoulders forward. From here, I'm bending my elbows out and then driving the pits of the elbows forward. Bend the elbows out, pits of the elbows forward. So notice the shoulders stay still, and I'm just moving in the upper arm, just moving at the elbow, out, forward, out, forward. If it's too easy, take the shoulders further forward. If it's too difficult, sit back into the feet a little bit more. Again, expect some sensation, a bit of strain, a stretch on the wrist, but not pain. Okay, hold with the pits of the elbows forward so the arms are fully locked here. Yeah, make sure you get to this position, not just here, but pits of the elbows turned all the way forward. Lean forward as far as you can, and again, it might not be that far, which is completely fine. And then from here, holding that position, we're shifting the weight side to side. Notice any differences between the left and the right. You can use some of these drills to help address those differences, iron out those imbalances. Just being aware of them is often useful and can be a way to prevent future injuries from arising. Okay, good. Next, we're going to do the same thing, but with the palms up. And so here, instead of leaning forward to make it more difficult, we lean back to make it more difficult. And again, just adjust to what's appropriate for you. So I'm going to lean all the way back and sit on my heels here. The palms are up, fingers are pointing back, not in, so the hands don't move. Again, the hands are fixed, and we're driving the pits of the elbows all the way forward. If this is too intense, like I said, keep the shoulders further forward, and you can even have the hands either side of the knees to take some of that weight out of the wrist. For people who don't move much in the wrist, this one can be really intense. So feel free to do this, or if it's still intense, you can do it with the hands against the wall to really take the load out of the wrists. I'm going to do it here. Okay, so we drive the pit of the elbow all the way forward, keeping the fingers pointing back, and then turn it out. Forward, out. Okay, hold, shift the weight side to side. Fingers pointing back. Pits of the elbows all the way forward so the arms actively lock completely straight. Okay, now try closing the hands and opening them. Closing the hands, opening them, close, open, close. If it's too intense, bring the shoulders forward. Okay, very good. Next up, hands turned out. Okay. And for this one, knees closer will be easier. So you adjust the difficulty. You're going to have a target on the thigh that you're touching with your elbows. So the closer the knees are, the higher the target will be. Okay, the tips of the forefingers stay in contact. That is, all four fingers stay in contact with the floor. And then we're bringing the elbows down to touch somewhere on the thighs. Okay, so the palms come off, but the tips of the fingers stay down. If it's too easy, you take the knees back to make for a lower target. If it's too hard, you can bring them closer and touch higher up the leg. The full version would be to touch the elbows to the floor. So you just work at or a little bit beyond your current level. Okay, now hold. Release. Good. Sun's encroaching on me here. Okay, next we're going to release the forearms a little bit, just do some active release on ourselves. So you're going to find this muscle here with your thumb, and then the muscle that sits on top of the forearm here, where it connects to the elbow, with your forefinger and your middle finger. Okay, and then holding those 2 points, we're just going to deviate at the wrists like this. So it's a side-to-side deviation of the wrist, or an ulnar and radial flexion. Ulnar flexion, radial flexion. For the anatomy nerds out there. Good, change sides. So you'll find this muscle on the inside of the arm where the forearm meets the elbow, just below the elbow, and then the same corresponding point on the top. Okay, and then same thing, deviating at the wrist. And if it feels okay, press a little harder. If it's too intense, obviously you can press more lightly. Okay, good. And finally, we're just gonna move the elbows a little bit. Okay, so the hand will come up and touch the shoulder. If you can't quite manage that, just bring the hand as high as you can, and then we're throwing the hand out. And try to make it a throwing movement to whatever extent's possible. If it's too much for your elbows to really snap them out like this, then just move gently. But if it feels okay, you can put a little bit more of a snap into it. So I'm touching the shoulders every time and then fully extending at the elbow and allowing it to snap back, snap out, snap back, snap out, snap back. Okay, shake the arms out a little bit. Great. Hopefully the hands, wrists, forearms are feeling a little bit different from before, a little bit better. If that's the case, then I recommend doing it again tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. Once or twice a day, this can make a real difference to how your arms feel in general. So if you found it useful, please do it again. Please share it with anyone that you think might also find it useful. And we'll see you next time for the next movement snack.